So I had this homecoming show at the Pit Loft, funny enough, January 2016.
We're going back there soon.
Oh my God.
We're going back to the Pit Loft, and he didn't want to do it. He said we're going way too backwards to go back to the Pit Loft.
There's just something psychological, but it's fine.
Look, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
And we went on, and the show was sold out, which was amazing. It was all my family and my friends, my family seeing it for the first time. No one's ever seen me on stage before. And the show was sold out, and so they added extra chairs to the front, and my camp counselor, who was a family friend, sat in the front row, and she was hammered, like so drunk. She must have been on some like benzos and some other shit too, because it was like mixed in a way where I'm like, this is not, you're
just drunk.
You're not just drunk right now. And she, in the middle of the show, was heckling us. She at one point went, yeah, that's what you get for scorning all those girls with that dirty dick. And in front of my grandmother.
Oh, no.
In front of my grandmother, who we don't say the word shut up in front of. You know what I mean? Like, and then
It must have ruined your asshole R. Kelly bit completely.
had to cut the whole thing. I did it with my underwear on. We did it through CGI. But then, like, you know, and she
I
stood
love
up.
you like this. Like my grandma's here.
I have a whole little bit where my ass says "Hi, Grandma." She came to a show this year, which I'll tell you about later. But like, then this girl threw a roundhouse kick at Vigo in the middle of the show and went, "I don't even know what's going on," and then started making out with her boyfriend, who was this really short Irish guy. And then
I know the whole pit staff's just standing like.
yeah, of course, they didn't do a damn thing. Obviously, they didn't do anything.
Not in the room.
They were like, we thought, first off,
Yeah.
not in the room.
Yeah.
Second, like, oh, we thought it was part of the show. Did you?
Yeah.
And like, at the time, we had our first reviewer in, which was like theater.blogspot.newyork.us.com.nyu critic.
That's still our leading quote on the website.
Yeah. And then we had an assistant from WME who was like so brand new to like somebody, like a junior assistant, a junior agent's assistant of some
Yeah,
shit.
they're like, they haven't given me an email yet.
Yeah,
Like,
truly. But I'm in the mailroom. And let me tell you, I'm moving stuff. And so like for me, that was like a huge deal. And so the show is going poorly. No one's like, they're not hating it, but they're not liking it. And everyone's like, oh, interesting choice, Zach. Like he's really doing that gay theater shit is the vibe I got from them. That's what I was feeling from the crowd. And let me tell you, it didn't feel good. And so as soon as the show was over, I immediately start crying backstage. I threw all my props and stuff.
How many comedians have been
How many
crying in
comedians
that
have cried
backstage
the backstage of the Pit Loft?
Oh yeah, it's hard for me to be back there still. And of course, like I'm crying and sad. Johnny, our director, he's Canadian. He's with me, and we're like hype. We were inseparable at the time. So he's like, man, fuck this place, fuck these people. Vigo, Norwegian.
Fuck your grandma.
Yeah, fuck your grandma.
dumb bitch.
Fuck your grandma for being here. She wasn't let you show your asshole. What the hell? She wiped that ass. She should be able to look at it. So he's with me. Vigo, obviously being Norwegian, does not want any confrontation, is cleaning up silently, just packing everything up behind us. This camp counselor comes backstage.
Oh, fuck.
And she's like, "You were amazing." And like falling over. And I was like, "Britt, you need to leave right now. You need to go home." And this, like basically a kind of like a Pistons Pacers fight in kind of brawl ensues where like the boyfriend comes backstage and starts pushing my director and he's like, "Hey, you have to tell her she didn't ruin your show. She's really sad about that." I'm like, "Well, he fucking did. So get out of here."
Oh, it's incredible.
My grandma is trying to get backstage, and my buddy Stefan, the vampire's like, "No, don't. It's not really time yet. It's just getting changed. I don't want to come back here." So he's holding her from the right side. They're coming in through the left. You guys know this.
Yeah, we know
Very
that
well.
place. Yeah.
My buddy then, Cole Stern. Cole was like American everyman. Everyone loved this guy. He could dunk in 6th grade. He like fingered when we were like 9. You know what I mean? He went to prom all 4 years.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow, he's getting
Played football at Penn. Cole comes backstage, and as soon as he comes backstage, the Irish boyfriend and this girl leave, and they eventually, left and like then followed us to the place we were staying, and then eventually, like also in the middle of this, Brandon, my best friend, Brandon Black, who's an amazing actor, he comes back and he's like, "Z, this is the WME assistant," and I'm like, "Thank you so much for coming."
Oh
like,
my
crying,
God.
dude. And they eventually sent us all these messages that we would then later read as a poem that we have as a poem that we read to each other whenever we're feeling upset or whenever we're like upset with each other. Because she had so many typos in there, and one of them was Honra Ditlab, which was supposed to be honestly. And she went, "You know me well enough to know my ego has nothing to do with it." And that's a phrase that we use whenever we're like talking about salaries or pay cuts or budgets to remind ourselves, hey, it's not me versus you, it's us versus this problem. So it's like, hey man, look, I want to pay you more than I could because you know me well enough to know my ego has nothing to do with it. And just like, it brings us back down to be like, yo, we are the same fucking idiots who are all here together.
Yeah.
And that's what we got from that
Henri Ditlab.
crazy. Yeah.
It's very
Honra
funny.
She went, "Fucking dad." Sad. It's another good one we have in there.
So your grandma has seen you since?
She has. She's never saw. I never let them come see the Naked Out of My Asshole show.
Yeah.
They were all forbidden to see that. But she did see Stamptown this year, and we worked with this amazing performer, Gigi Holiday. She's like one of the top 10 burlesque performers in the world. And she has massive boobs, and she was smacking me in the face with her boobs after her routine, after I had already announced this to everybody, and it wasn't planned, but I'm like, well, I got to do the show calls what the show calls. And my dad and his brother, who are both so fucking lame, they were like, don't do any nudity in front of grandma, she's gonna get so upset, all this type of stuff.
You'd
And
probably be so happy that you're straight for a second.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, because they don't. They always
That's
ask.
a boy.
She always goes, "What's up with the earrings?" And I'm like, "Well, what?" Oh, yeah, I just have them. I'm like, oh, she's on to me, girls. I don't think they know what the term bisexual means, and honestly, I think I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But they, I went up to her afterwards, and I was like, "Hey, like, did you like it?" And she's like, "I loved it." She really
Really?
loved the show, and I was like, "I'm sorry about the." Breasts to the face. Notice I code switched and said breasts, not honking huge knockers, 80s.
Grandma.
And she went, "Hey, you gotta do what the show needs you to do." And I looked at my dad and his brother. I'm like, "Really? This is what you were worried about? Like, you guys are so uncomfortable about this?" But she understands. And she starts talking to me about, like, you know, all these old, you know, like kind of like comedians or talk shows she used to watch in the 70s and 80s and 60s, and was like, it reminds me of this, and was so sweet and complimentary. And
That's the thing with old people sometimes. Some are sensitive, but some it's like, listen, they've seen more of life than you can imagine.
yeah. And there's a lot of stuff we don't agree on, for sure.
Sure,
yeah.
sure.
And other things they don't like about me. But but other than
I was hoping you would do the full thing like in the show.
I would, but I didn't know whose this was, so I was just being respectful.
That's a lovely end.
You're listening to The Downside.
The Downside.
With Gianmarco Soresi.